Hello everybody, my name is David. Thank you for watching CNXG. Today's a very important video. I tell you guys all the time how important all kinds of support is when you're coming out of an abusive relationship. It's so important, and I want to tell you just some reasons why. The reason we find ourselves in emotionally abusive relationships is because of neglect in our childhood. I say this all the time. We had no support as a child, so we have no support as an adult. Tend to not get support, have supportive people in our lives as an adult, and we get into emotionally abusive relationships. Doing this makes us want to isolate. If we grew up neglected, and I say this all the time, if we grew up neglected, we didn't pay attention to how we feel. That's our emotions. That's our body reacting to things. We ignored these things because our parents didn't pay attention to it either. So if our parents don't, we don't. And we start paying attention to all kinds of different people. Basically, I'm not going to get into that so much right now, but basically, it's doing things on our own. It's keeping things inside. It's not talking and not asking for help and not getting help that we need. And a lot of us tend to be those people that isolate, not just introverts. I'm talking isolate from people in society and kind of tend to just internalize everything. And it's a really horrible thing to do. It's extremely unhealthy. Besides, it can give you physical ailments and illnesses, disease. The thing is you're battling all of this emotional kind of things all on your own. And, you know, we talk about gaslighting and projection and manipulation, and it screws with our heads. If we are in these relationships, we are full of shame and guilt, things like this. We got to resolve these things so that we don't do this anymore. But how we do that is support. It is almost impossible, guys, to do this all alone. Okay? And you know, there's a reason, a big reason, guys, that when you come out of these relationships with emotional abusers, that we are still all alone. That we don't really have the most supportive friends, maybe one, maybe two if we're lucky. A lot of our family may not be that supportive, things like this. There's reasons for it. That's why we got into these relationships. That's kind of how we live our lives and not have good, healthy, supportive people in them. So one point I want to make, and I don't, you know, I want to talk about suicide, and I know that might trigger some people, and it's depressing, but negative. I'm doing this as an example. This is like the best example I can find as to why professional help is so vitally important. Suicide is increasing in this country, in America, rapidly, and it's increasing everywhere, and it's increasing in age, in gender, in race, and ethnicity. All across the board, suicide is rising. And it's rising in people that we used to not think was as bad. I mean, we all know that, like, white males are high in suicide, but that's still climbing. But now women, minorities, all these things are rapidly increasing in suicide. The CDC, Center of Disease and Control, reported that more than half of suicides in America have no known mental health condition. So, of all these people that are killing themselves right now, there's never been any reported mental health problems with them. Suicide's being viewed not just as a mental health problem, but a public health problem. It's really rapidly increasing. Increase in suicide amongst women, too. With all the increased suicide, more than half had no reported mental health condition. However, more than 90% are found to have a mental health condition afterwards. So these people have no reported health conditions. They're not going and getting help. They're not getting diagnosed, anything, okay? And 90% of them afterwards, after doing research and talking to family and stuff like this, they're finding out that they do have a mental health condition. So these people are not getting help at all. Never. And they're trying to battle mental health conditions alone, or just ignoring them. Okay? people just are not getting help. So the biggest reason people commit suicide are normal life stressors, you know. I don't need to tell you, you guys know, normal things. Money and loss of people and relationships, stuff like this. Suicide is an issue for anyone struggling with serious lifestyle problems, not just people with mental health conditions. Okay? So suicide can be a problem for anyone. Anyone. This is something I found really interesting. Suicide is climbing in rural areas, outside of cities. Okay? It used to be way more just in cities, major cities, metropolitan cities. Now it's climbing in the rural areas, outside of major cities. It's also rising amongst groups of people such as like Hispanics, minorities, and women, like I said earlier. The things that are common here are where professional help is not available or frowned upon. Okay, so outside of major cities and rural areas out in the country, professional help isn't as available. They're committing more suicide. In cultures and groups of like Hispanics don't really believe too much in getting help for your head. They don't believe it, and their suicides are climbing drastically to show what's happening if you don't. Something also very interesting. Suicide is higher in happier cities, what's known as happier cities, and what's known as more sad cities or less happy cities. That's where suicide is lowest. So what that tells you is we're comparing ourselves to other people around us. And if everybody looks happy, we think we're the only one that's sad and depressed. And a lot of these type of people are committing suicide. New York City is supposed to be this sad city, right? But the suicide rate is much lower than a lot of other cities, most cities that are considered happy. I found that really interesting. So there's like a stigma of we can't have problems. We can't show problems, and we go on our Facebook and have a nice happy profile and everything's great. And that's why all you guys are asking me, is my ex happier with the next person? They look happy. I don't get it. Can they change? Have they changed? This is what we're doing. We aren't letting anyone know that we have any problems at all, and it's actually like really bad if you have a problem. And it's also frowned upon to go get help. Well, now everyone's killing themselves because of it. So I use an extreme case, okay? And if you guys, it's not for you guys to sit there and say, oh, I don't want to kill myself, I don't need help. What this was to show is the damages, how damaging it is to try and do these kinds of things alone. You can't do it. You can't do it. I watch people do it alone, and they are struggling, and they usually don't get better. And they're suicidal. Okay? So please, when I say love yourself first, just love yourself. Take care of yourself. So many of you want to take care of everyone else around you and not yourself. Okay? So do that. Do that. Healthy, healthy, healthy. This is the time, guys, to take care of addictions, take care of problems in our lives. All of them. All of them. Okay? Not just get over our ex and move on and date another one. Time to get healthy and fix our lives all across the board. Okay? I hope this video helps you guys. I do. I really hope you think about these kinds of things and get the kind of support you need. Okay? Because the things that professionals do for clients that see them regularly, it's not just processing past trauma. Okay? It's figuring how to do things the right way. Learning how to do things the right way and making good decisions for yourself. And not keep making mistakes where you have to pay for them for the next 10 to 20 years. All right? All right, guys. Thank you very much. Love yourself first. If you could help me out and help people out that are feeling suicidal and need these kinds of this information, okay, about narcissists and stuff, spread this out. If you guys please put it on your social medias, forums, groups. Give it to people who need it, okay? Thanks, guys. Take care. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.
that was humble and true. She went round and round trying to decide what she wanted to be. I could be an artist, I can be a soldier, I could even be the president. So many dreams, so few could happen. Well, mine wouldn't seem to stay on the present. Na 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 started writing books, but she was left alone. Nobody would touch her, nobody would care, because Sally was different, they had to stare. I bump into Sally every day. I see her, but I turn to look the other way. Another person to pass right by her. Sally stopped, look into the future. Na 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 na. The nervousness I felt, it was tearing up my conscience. Saw her every day, but didn't want to notice. Her mommy and daddy sat in the first row. My love and I sat just behind. A sad existence, but oh so common. Another life walked on the line.